Good afternoon. Welcome to the Brookfield Group's live streaming podcast. I'm Leanne Davis. I'm the CMO here at the Brookfield Group. And today we're kicking off the first of many of our podcasts. And we thought we would start with a review of our monthly newsletter and a little bit deeper dive with some of our experts on the articles that we publish. So today we have with us Daniel Abdallah. He is our CTO here at the Brookfield Group. And we have Matt McBeth, who's our CIO at the Brookfield Group. You're welcome.
I don't know if I'm an expert.
You are an expert.
Am I? Today?
Yes.
Today I'm an expert?
I saw a verified check by your name as expert, so yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So that little thing I paid for actually worked?
It did. I bought into it, so
Awesome.
there you go.
Yeah.
I was foreshadowing to a later segment.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
But I also gave someone my social security number and my...
don't do that. Do that.
Just, it was a spam call.
You can give it to me if you want.
Yeah.
I'll keep it secure for you. Make sure it works,
Appreciate that.
Open up a few accounts. You want to make sure your social security number is actually working.
I'd appreciate that.
Yep.
Just let me know what you do.
You're welcome. No fun in that.
So our first article in the newsletter is cybersecurity trends, emerging cybersecurity trends for so far this year, because things just keep popping up left and right anyway. So I thought I would open it up to these gentlemen and see what they have to say about that article.
Well, I looked at the three I noticed was supply chain. That's been everywhere.
Yeah, it's really going to affect everybody come Christmas, I think. I think people hear about it and they think, oh, yeah, but until that comes and actually affects them, they're not going to pay attention to it.
Yeah, I bought a bicycle and it sat outside of Oakland on the water for 6 weeks
6 weeks. Wow.
after
Did you
being
get,
in about
like
3
when you
weeks.
walk in, you go into like UPS tracker and it says, where's your package? You just
Like,
see it like sitting in
yeah.
the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did it give you the option, like if you wanted to go work on the dock and you could unload it yourself?
Yeah.
Help speed it up a little bit.
Expedited shipping
Yeah.
was an option.
They
So,
should offer that.
Yeah,
I wanna
it's like a
unload my own
bespoke
thing.
delivery experience. I mean, BMW does it with their cars. You go out to Germany, you can grab it. So
So does
Why not?
Corvette down in
yeah,
Bowling Green.
exactly.
It's more bespoke than a bicycle wheel.
True.
Oh gosh, here we go.
All right.
Starting early.
All right. Can we start this over?
Yeah. live stream. Stay with me. So what other trends do you see happening this year besides, again, back to the supply chain, I think it's just going to be a disaster when it comes even like holiday baking. I know that Costco put a lot of limitations, not because the supply is not there. They don't have truck drivers to get it from the docks to their stores. I mean, that's another big issue, or drivers. And now diesel fuel is over $4 a gallon. I mean, it's a mess.
Yeah,
And also on supply chain, you might be somebody's supply chain. So you could be the thing hanging somebody's delivery up.
yep, yeah. That was one of the things. I mean, specifically in this article I was talking about. I mean, earlier this year, I know we put out some articles about it, and I fielded some calls from other MSPs or people about the Kaseya breach that happened, and that most people think of supply chain in the sense of like delivering a product from A to B or whatever, but at least in our industry, this was an interesting attack in the fact that it targeted MSPs that then supply services and security and things like that to end users. So supply chain from that standpoint is a whole different way of looking at it. So like, people that might not, are companies that might not consider themselves supply chain as a industry or things like that actually are potentially could be targeted from things like this, where it's a one-to-many attack. So you compromise one thing and then it's going to actually spread out and attack like multiple people with one vulnerability. So that's something that's interesting. So it's you have to start to think about what your bigger effect is on your client base than just what you do every single day. If you're we've been thinking of internally a lot about how do we continue to protect ourselves and protect our clients and things like that. But as an organization, just have to think about it's not just you at risk, it's also your clients and things like that can be affected by it now, because this was such a successful, it's hard to use the word successful with an attack like this, but it was a successful attack that is likely going to lead to more individuals looking to try and exploit something like that.
Yeah, and you also have to consider on the supply chain side that it could be your supplier or your customer, and either of them have a breach that impacts you also. So you kind of need to help help the rest of your partners out with this.
Yep.
Is the Kaseya thing, is that over now? Is it ongoing? Is everything
I'll say
found?
this. I mean, I don't know Kaseya's motive was really just don't say anything about it, their PR plan, but they have done, if you're going to look at something that could have completely tarnished them, they have, while they're still in the news, it's nothing like what it was. Like, they've taken a bury our head in the sands type approach, it seems, to just like, yeah, well, we're just not going to talk about this anymore. And I haven't seen much published by them. I haven't looked at their blog recently to see if something's changed, but I don't know. It kind of had a huge peak, and then it's kind of just died down, and kind of people talking about it. So I don't know. It's interesting. But
I think one of the things, and I've noticed this in, just like showbiz news, as soon as somebody has something horrible that happens, they're only in the news until the next horrible thing happens to somebody else. So I'm sure Kaseya was hoping that something else is going to happen here, because the ransomware and just cyber attacks have been so prevalent this year. So it doesn't take long to wait for the next one to happen.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it sounds like from what they put out, they were going to be doing a lot of improvements internally to help prevent something like this from happening again. And it was, as bad as it sounds, it was a good learning experience for a lot of our industry to understand what our responsibilities are. And we reached out to a lot of our vendors and just shored up that, what are you doing from a security standpoint to make sure that we're not being a vulnerability point?
because I know earlier this week, the White House was moving forward, or Department of Justice on zero trust policies for all the vendors that do with the government. And now I just read today that the House is telling them they need to pump their brakes on that a little bit, and I'm not quite sure why they wouldn't want that in place.
There's just a lot. I mean, I'd assume that there's just a lot that goes into putting that into place and in practice, and will it actually impede a lot of services being provided? So I don't know. I can't speak too much to it. I haven't read the specific article, so I don't want to speak uninformed about it.
I was just reading the headlines, and I was like, one day it's like, oh, this is
moving forward,
sound like it's law, and then the next day it's like, oh wait, hold on
Calm
a
down.
second, just kidding.
Yeah.
I would imagine something like that would be really hard to monitor or to have a check and balance on. Like, how, just because somebody says that they are, how do you know that they are? I don't know how they would check and balance that.
Yeah, and I know Matt's been doing a lot of research into it for us, is the different compliancy standards that are probably coming down the line, that more than just government entities, or specifically companies or industries that service government, are going to have much stricter compliancy requirements. That ties into a couple of the other pieces we're going to kind of go over today. But yeah, I think that's the only way, to your point. I mean, getting those things in place is the only way that you're going to actually hold somebody to the fire about what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting transition. Like, if you look at a power supply in a computer, it has that little UL thing on it, and that's a self-certification. Huh. So UL says, build to these standards, and then I say, yeah, I did that, and I put a stamp on there. And that's worked in power supplies and things that could catch on fire, so maybe it's a good first step to get started. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to say everybody has to do this on January 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of moves us into the next article, which is about the cyber insurance. Anybody else, any other takers on the trends?
Oh, the only thing that I thought was interesting, especially with like the boom with cryptocurrency and things like that, again, like this week, is more malware is going to like crypto mining malware. So it installs it on the background of your device. And so your device might start to run slow or things like that, and you have nothing open. It might be some malware running in the background mining Bitcoin for somebody else. So they're using your energy bill to help make them money. So people are crafty. Yeah. So next gen antivirus people, you should be using it.
What was the SETI thing? Do you remember SETI? Like from 2000, it was the search for extraterrestrial life or something. You would put.
You put that little thing on there, yeah. And then you would do like the whole shared computing thing to help like listen for like different things or decode like inbound sound or whatever. Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of like
basically
that,
like that.
It's,
a
little more
various. There's also, I can't remember the name of it now. There was another thing like that you could put on like your PlayStation or Xbox that would help. I don't know if it was a medical field. It was for
a cancer thing.
Yeah.
Folding at home is what it was.
What was it again? Folding at home?
Folding at home.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I remember doing that. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then 2 weeks later, I was like, oh, this is dumb. I'm going to turn it off.
as most things. Trends, gotta love them. Okay, so cyber insurance market, they are facing a crisis moment. I think that's because they were unprepared that there would be so many ransomwares and hacks. This year has been a record year. It's insurance client to stay in compliance with their cyber insurance because there are so many check boxes that you have to have, and right now they're looking for anything that you didn't have checked, they're not going to pay out because people think it's kind of like it covers everything because, oh, I have cyber insurance, but it's more like car insurance. It's like, well, you might have, collision, but you didn't have medical or something like that. Yep. So what have you found on the cyber insurance front?
Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting is like with car insurance, so I'm driving down the street and I have a car crash. Daniel has to actually be on the street with a car to hit me. With cyber insurance is like, just cruising down the internet and some random bot hits me. You don't have to actually be there. It's not a one against one. It's just I'm going to have a bot go out and hit stuff. And the insurance business model is I'm probably not going to be in the street at the same time as Daniel, so our cars aren't going to hit. But we're going to be on the internet at the same time, and my bot's going to be chasing after his bots, So
don't touch my bots.
Yeah. So the insurance model of bad things never going to happen doesn't really work in cyber insurance. Right. It's probably going to happen. I mean, so the model's different.
There's also again, like the auto, and there's only so much damage that can be done in
That's a good point.
In a car crash to an extent, right? With a lot of these cyber attacks, like the scope of cost can just be monumental. I mean, if you're hitting a multi-billion-dollar industry and every day their annual, or if you have a loss provision in your cybersecurity policy for production or revenue loss or whatever, a multi-billion-dollar company per day, it's hundreds of millions of dollars that are lost in however long they're down. They're down for 1 day, 2 days, whatever. It's almost exponential in the amount of loss that can be there. And it's just, like you said, I mean, insurance works off of that. It's not nobody's going to hit all at once, and it's all going to be for a superficial amount for what the whole entire policy is. Whereas like with cybersecurity, they have to put caps on it. And even those caps, if it's 10% of $1 billion industry, that's $100 million that they have to pay out. That's a lot of premiums that have to be paid. So, and that's why we're seeing in this article, premiums have gone up exponentially, the cost of it. I also have new subscribers because of everybody seeing everything happening. So,
and I never thought about the angle until you said that, but in the example I had is my car hits your car. In the cyber insurance world, my car can hit everybody's car inside the company at the same time.
Yeah. And my car could cost $20 and your car could be a Lamborghini, and I do 100% total damage to it, and you have to pay for 10 Lamborghinis after the fact. I mean, it's not like a one-to-one kind of situation anymore. So it's an interesting place to be in. I mean, ransomware in this article specifically, it says 75% of all cyber insurance claims come from ransomware, right? And that's from specifically here. It's up from 55% in 2016. So, I mean, it's and I think we talk. I don't know if we put this in newsletter earlier, but we talked about the ransomware for hire agencies that are out there now, where it's almost crowdfunding ransomware as far as like insiders getting paid to be able to put it in without actually having to try and they then bypass all the security layers that companies are putting millions of dollars into to try and thwart these people trying to get in. You pay off one person for a few $1,000s, which is peanuts in comparison to the buyout that they're going to get to go plug a USB drive in, and it circumvents all of that security. So I don't know, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how either I would suspect a lot of small insurance practices are just going to get out of insuring cybersecurity, or they're going to have some crazy clause that says if you don't show best practice or intent to protect, that you are not going to be, like, they just won't cover you at all.
Yeah, a lot of them are going by the Instagram rule of, take a picture, it didn't happen. So you have to document everything and document that, somebody didn't sneak in with a thumb drive, so you have to show the surveillance video. So is it like in the movies, I want to hack, like in Mr. Robot, I want to go in and hack the company so I get the CD and I have to sneak in after work and put it in a drive? Is that how it actually works?
I think it's overplayed a lot in that for dramatic effect, but most of these things are just unattended things that are just out there running all the time. Like, it's not once it's set up, it's not a high level of effort. It's more of a gunshot like a shotgun approach of just try and send it out as much as you can, automate it, send it out, just see what you get. And the unfortunate reality is there's a lot of opportunity out there, and it's a multi-billion-dollar per year industry is the way really to think about it anymore, and that people are making millions of dollars off of sending out these kind of attacks. And that's a lot of incentive for someone to spend time to be good at this kind of job. I mean, people are viewing this as a career almost anymore, right?
So two things on that. One, I always thought that the majority of those hacks came in through, the email that somebody clicked on a link and it like launched something, but you didn't know, and it infected everybody before you even could get a handle on it. But I think what I read the other day was that the majority comes from people not changing their passwords.
Yeah. I was in one of our articles that we sent that it was talking about how, people reuse passwords, don't put secure passwords, don't do whatever, or will hand over their password for the easiest little things like $5 Amazon gift card or something like that. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I'm taking a survey, will you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things that go to play in it, but there's also a lot of low-hanging fruit that you can do to help, reduce your risk, and your what do they call it? Your threat footprint, or of how updating your password, using a password manager, not using the same passwords for everything, 2FA, and additional features like that. Just some self-education at times can help tremendously. And I mean, there's a lot that you can do, but it's a lot of effort to stay up on it. I mean, things are always changing. So, I mean, we do our best to do everything we can to stay up on it. We're always looking at tools and services and things like that, but it's an ever-changing world that everyone plays a part in it, and everyone has a little bit of responsibility that they have to understand that is on their shoulders.
To your point, I think they're a lot of these insurance companies that offer cyber insurance are going to kind of be like the property and casualty insurers that used to be in Florida. Once you get hit by a couple of hurricanes and they have to pay out, now there's so many, if they're still in business in Florida, there's so many clauses that exclude so many things that if they didn't fold, it's almost impossible to get a policy. And then when you do, the caps are so low that it's really not going to cover you for much.
Yeah.
So really the onus is on business owners to make sure that they are as protected as possible.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff, we've had this year especially reviewed so many cybersecurity insurance forms for clients that some of the questions that they ask and the pieces that it takes for you to stay insured, or if you don't do this, we will not insure you. And in some cases, it's not even just the cyber insurance policy piece of it. It's the whole entire policy. They won't even they won't renew your business insurance. And so they're definitely starting to put their foot down on what the base requirements are for security. But at the same time, they're also taking a wide approach, and there's not a lot of definition on what is the actual requirement. Like it'll say, do you have multi-factor enabled? Well, that's a big question. Is it multi-factor for one person? Is it multi-factor for every individual in the company? Is it for every service, every tool? App? Are you using single sign-on? Are you every single app, every single login? There's a whole lot more that goes into that than just, I have multi-factor, so it's hard when it's open-ended like that. And there's not, trying to understand what security standard are you going to be following. So you have a guideline on how you are going to secure it, because so many of those questions are open-ended. I mean, depending on who it is, if you just say, I have multi-factor, I have it on one thing, is that good enough? There's no definition of good when it comes to a lot of these questionnaires. And so, we've asked questions on it and tried to get clarification. Sometimes we get more, sometimes we don't. It just kind of depends on the carrier.
Yeah, I've been compiling from the errors and omission clauses of cyber insurance. Like you mentioned, so in the terms and conditions, here's the top 5 requirements for E&O compliance. MFA.
Yeah.
Just
Just MFA.
Yep.
Yeah.
The next one is a firewall.
Again.
Yep.
Okay.
This one's even better. Endpoint management.
Okay.
Awareness training.
Okay.
Just awareness training.
Yeah, just awareness.
Yep. And then the last one is backups.
Yeah. And
Can you be any more vague?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
Well, I gave you 5 things.
Yeah.
yeah.
Got a firewall. It's sitting on my desk.
Yeah.
Plug it in. Oh.
No,
okay.
we don't.
Okay.
You don't need to plug it in. Yeah, that's no.
Yeah. Well, I have a firewall.
Yeah.
Gets warm and makes noise. So, beeps all the time.
Firewall, firewall or fireplace?
Yeah.
Is it same
Oh,
thing?
yeah.
Different?
Typo.
name? No. Okay.
But yeah, it's
You had a firewall in your office.
I did. It was
For a little while.
awesome.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good old days.
Yeah. Back
But
when
yeah,
you had an office.
Yeah.
But it's when you look at insurance policies, it's really hard to figure this stuff out.
It is.
And each one's different, and each agent's probably trained different, and it's hard enough being an insurance agent to take care of a roof or a car. Now you have to know everything about cyber insurance. That's that's got to be really hard to keep track of that.
Yeah. I think when people start filling out that paperwork, people like our customers, it's daunting, and they've got, 20 other office things that they've got to get done. So they're just like, oh, check this, not check this, yes, no, whatever. They kind of just skim through it, not realizing on the back end that as soon as they get hit, they're going to be in big trouble. Okay. And I know we had one of our partners, Dato, we had a Dato event out at the Brownsburg Chamber of Commerce a month or 2 ago, and they were telling a story, several stories about people that even though once they get hit and then they get fixed, there might still be something out there that they haven't found yet, and then they get hit again. And usually the second time they get hit, the ransomware people are not so nice. Second time around.
And you can find that whole presentation on our YouTube channel at the Brookfield Group.
Somebody in the
Who is that?
Weird.
That is weird.
overarching voice. It's weird.
Was that a caller? Did we have a caller?
Do we have any callers?
No callers right now.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, dang it.
Do we pay our phone bill?
Dang it. All right. Anything else on crisis moment and cyber insurance? Going once? Twice? Need a big buzzer here.
Ever evolving.
All right.
Ever evolving.
Yeah, it is. And it's just in every single news feed that I get now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I would say if you're working on the budget of your company, you have to at least budget that is going to go up in cost.
Oh, yeah. I think it'll really, really go up.
Yeah. It's the only way that right now, and as users or subscribership goes up, they're going to have to raise premiums and get more subscribers because if it's not profitable for the insurance company, they're not going to insure it, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're not.
Right.
They're in it to make money, and that's how it works. So.
Okay, so earlier we heard a voice and we didn't know where it was coming from. So that's going to bring us to our next and final article. It's how to remember names. So I did a lot of trade shows in my day, and it always cracked me up when you go to shake someone's hand at a trade show, and they're not looking you in the eye, they're looking at your name tag. They're like focused on that name tag. And this was the most clicked upon article in our newsletter this week, so I thought that would be a fun one to talk about. So one of the interesting quotes in here that I read is that one of the reasons that it's hard for people to remember other people's names is because they are trying to be interesting. They're trying to be interesting instead of trying to be interested in the person. So the person's introducing themselves and they're saying, "Hi, I'm Leanne." And Daniel's only thinking, "Okay, what can I say to tie her into somebody that I know? And how can I impress her by
How can I end this conversation?
Yeah.
How can I do that?"
Hey, that's us on a regular day. So I thought that was interesting because I find that too. When you're meeting someone, you might be a little bit nervous. For me, I'm always thinking, how am I going to remember this person's name? I'm not going to remember it. For me, I just cut right to it. If somebody comes up and they're, "Hey, Leanne, how's it going?" Right then, "I'm sorry, I don't remember your name." Because it just gets it out there. They appreciate it. They say their name, and then you're good to go off in the conversation. You had a suggestion earlier. What was your phrase?
I use the phrase, it's good to see you.
It's
nice to see you. Or
not again.
Not again, not for the first time, or it's nice to meet you or anything like that, because then you've immediately set yourself up for failure, because it buys you it can buy you a little bit of time to, especially like if you're with somebody else that they haven't met or you don't know if they've met, you can say, hey, it's good to see you. This is my friend, blah, blah, blah. And and you kind of let them introduce themselves, and then you move on. And then, so I don't know if I saw it in here. I feel like the thing that I've always heard is like you need to use their name like 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
So I think in the first like 5 minutes or 7 minutes of meeting them, and then like ingrains it in your head.
That's what it said in
So
the article.
I've tried to. That's one thing that's always stuck with me. So I've tried to do it. I feel like I'm better than most at remembering people's names, but
wait till you get older.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. So,
But
yeah, there's some good
introverts
tips.
have an advantage in this.
Extroverts?
Introverts.
Oh, introverts.
Like if I met Leanne at a party or something for the first time, she said, "Hi, I'm Leanne." I was like, "I wish Leanne would leave me alone." Leanne.
But Leanne doesn't. She
Yeah.
keeps saying.
So I know Leanne's name. So no, do you think
Third party.
introverts
Leanne thinks so.
have an advantage in that sense? Or do you think we're so afraid of the interaction we forget everything and black out?
I think introverts do have an advantage because an extrovert wants to tell you more and more about them. And we know someone that used to be around here quite a bit, very extroverted, all about them, 24/7, in your face. So that person would never remember your name if you told them 20 times. But I think an introvert would remember. Maybe they're a little shy. They want to they want to make friends, so they want to, remember people's name. I was telling a story before we started today of a wife of one of my husband's bosses.
Friends, girlfriends.
Yes, cousin.
Bartender.
Second cousin.
Second cousin.
Came to one of my parties at my house, and, I have about 40 people there, and a charming lady, just charming lover. And the next party she came to, she remembered like every single person's name. And I've got like 3 friends named Beth and, three guy friends named Chris, and she remembered every single one. Of course, she only had to remember Beth and Chris, so that wasn't like
it
too
kind of
hard.
reduces the. I mean, right there,
like,
you reduced it by almost 15%.
Claire, how do you do that? And so she brought up another point in
Was
this
Claire
article.
actually her name?
Claire was actually her.
Okay.
It is.
You do remember her name?
Yes,
Okay.
Claire. Yeah,
All right.
she's charming. I love her. She says, find something unique you can relate, like a facial feature or, something that they're doing that you can remember. Oh, Daniel was messing with his fingers during the,
Gross.
when we did this, or, just find something that you can remember and associate their name with, and then that helps. The other thing, and I find myself doing this, we moved out to our house about 5 years ago, and we had a yard sale because we had 3s and 4s of everything, being at our age and just getting married. And all of our new neighbors came over, and I just whipped out my phone right as I'm talking to them, and I just typed their name in. This is their name, this is their kids' names, they live next door to the left. Because I knew in that stressful situation, there was no way I was going to remember anybody's names, but yet they would remember me.
That's one thing that in this article, I thought was interesting. It was like, file names and notes electronically in one place, right? It says use Apple Notes to, put in there. I don't know if a time where I would be able to say, okay, that guy, he was this. Let me check my notes. Let me go into my give me a second. I got your name. It's right here. Hold on. Okay, filed under December 11th, 2018. We talked at the bar. Your name's Matt, isn't it? Like that was one tip that I thought was kind of strange here. I was like, I'm not going to pull out my Apple Notes.
No, you don't do it later. After that person leaves, you go back, or later that
but I've
night.
already embarrassed myself at that point. Like, I don't know their name. I might as well just fess up to it.
This is when you first meet someone, the first interaction. So then you go back and you review those notes, and you just kind of ingrate it in your head like 3
I
or
guess
4
I'm
times.
not. I don't think I would ever go back and review all the names that I met at one time.
The next tip was something that you would do, and that is immediately reach out to them on social media. So that way you have a picture of their face, and you know what their name is, and you know the company they work for.
Yeah. Now that I do a lot of times, like using LinkedIn or something like that before I get to a meeting or things like that, refreshing myself on their name, what they look like, and then getting to it. It's also shocking when people haven't updated their LinkedIn photos in a while, and then you walk in, you're like, I think that's you, but I'm going to let you introduce me again and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like mine. I still have dark hair in my LinkedIn.
Your hair's dark.
it's not as dark as it used to be,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
It's something I find useful is like taking a Polaroid picture of everybody you meet and then putting on your wall. And then you have pages where you meet and you connect them with yarn pieces.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I remember I met that person over there behind that.
Isn't
Yeah,
there a
true.
murder show on like that?
I
Where
hope
it
not.
just, like,
It gets really weird when you pull out the big retro
Yeah.
Polaroid
Yeah.
camera
Yeah.
right there.
This will just be a minute.
yeah.
This will look great in my collection.
Yeah, and people are like, nice to meet you, Matt.
It's
They
like,
remember
Matt.
your name.
Yeah,
for
they,
sure
they
after
definitely
that.
remember you. Yeah. Yeah.
One last thing on this, and this is something that my husband is horrible about remembering names, but yet he has a lot of company functions that we have to go to. So as soon as they're like, hey, how's it going? It's like, oh, I just step forward and say, I'm Leanne, and just stick my hand out. So they introduce themselves to remove any embarrassment from him because he doesn't remember anyone's name.
Wingman strategy.
Yeah.
Remember the Dale Carnegie had a thing like how to remember names, like picture them riding a horse. Like that didn't help me at all. It's like, hey, there's
That'd be so
that
distracting.
guy riding a horse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would be like, because that opens up so many. What kind of horse would they ride?
Yeah.
Would they be like?
Is
one of,
everyone
like
on a horse?
Yeah.
Everyone on the same horse?
Yeah.
Somebody's on a white horse. Somebody's on a
Yeah.
brown.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
apparently the horse is supposed to match something with their name.
Huh.
I don't know.
Is that because just like racing horses have really weird names?
It could be.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like his name's Dale, so you nickname him Dale the Dasher, and he rides on this really quick horse.
Hey, it's Galloping Tulip.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I met you at the party last week, and the person's like, oh, my name's not Tulip.
Oh.
So is this how you keep track of your neighbors' names? Like you have,
Yes.
yeah, do you do that?
Yes.
Like everybody in the neighborhood has nicknames. Like, hey, that's Cherry Pie, because when he moved in, we gave him Cherry Pie and we never met him.
Yep.
Yeah, we have Cherry Pie lives across the street from us.
So I think Kelsey knows everyone in our neighborhood's name, or doesn't know their name, but knows everyone's dog's name from like walking our
Yeah.
dog in the neighborhood and stuff like that. So like, I will say something like, "Hey, I was talking, or I met this person on the walk," and she's like, "Oh, is that?"
Nix's dad?
Yeah, is that? I was like, maybe. And it's like, yeah, it's a little white dog. Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, that's blah blah blah. I'm like, it doesn't register with me.
Yeah, we have Charlie, this older guy in our neighborhood, walks his dog Charlie every day. No idea what the guy's name is.
But his name is Charlie.
But the dog's name is
It's
Charlie. So
Charlie.
it's like, yeah, Charlie and his person.
Human.
Yeah.
That's that old cartoon, My Boy Sherman.
Oh, Peabody.
Yeah, Mr. Peabody and the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
Funny. Speaking of the Wayback Machine, they celebrated their 24th
What?
anniversary, the Wayback Machine. If anybody wants to look at an old website that's not there anymore, you can go to thewaybackmachine.com. You can pull it back up and you can relive some old memories. So, anything else on name remembering?
Everyone always forgets my name, so
Really?
you know,
Really?
yeah. I always get a David.
Huh.
Very forgettable. I
So
guess.
did he forget your first name or misspell your last name more often?
Probably misspell the last name more often.
I've given up on my last name.
Really?
Yeah,
You
that
get
way-
the MC instead of the MAC?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't put in the effort to hit the shift to capitalize the B. So hard shift.
Think of how many ways you can spell Leanne.
Yeah.
I get the E on the end, one word, one E, one this, one that. It's like,
Leanne.
yeah.
It's the French version of it.
Yeah, like when your email comes through, it says from Lee.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
Lee is actually my first name.
Oh, you're not one of those double first names, no middle names?
Nope. Ann is my middle name.
I gotcha.
Which most of my family calls me Annie, which is weird.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Goes back
sign us out, Annie.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. Like I said, we're going to try and do this every Thursday. We're going to be live streaming. We'll be taking questions. Which voice in the sky? Were there any questions today?
Unfortunately, not.
Oh, dang.
No question of the day.
No question of the day?
Did you want to see the old Brookfield website from 2006?
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I still think, Chris, we need to recreate the ad spot on on our YouTube channel from our original YouTube video that we had done.
Oh, yeah.
Shot for shot with the new office.
I think we could do that.
I think that would be awesome.
Here's the old 2006 Brookfield
Where am I looking at?
website.
Boom. It's up here.
Oh, wow.
So this
like
image
the ads.
this image I don't think loaded.
It's very brochure-y.
Those ads are great.
Get some ads for your TurboTax 26
Wow.
2006.
Authorized QuickBooks affiliate.
Is that true?
I mean, I don't know how much we want it to be true.
So we'll be posting
got it.
these out to our social media.
This will be our new website update.
This will be our new. So catch us next week. We're going to have a different theme every week. The third Thursday is always going to be talking about our newsletter. The other ones I'm just going to say is TBD. We did a bunch of planning around it. It's going to be a lot of fun, very interactive. So catch us next Thursday. Thanks for joining.
Look at